Hello. For this video, I'm going to show you a tool used in geometry for drawing geometric pictures on your computer. So you can start by going to Google, and we're going to search for a program called Geogebra, Geogebra. And you can find that and select it. The website is geogebra.org, Geogebra.org. You can go straight there if you don't want to stop at Google. When you get to that website, your picture should look something like this. You're going to scroll down the choices. This is a geometry class, so we're going to select geometry. And what we get is a tool for drawing pictures, and you can mess around with these different objects. You can put points on your screen, or draw a segment by clicking twice on the screen. You make a segment, or a line by clicking twice on the screen. You can even draw things like circles or other shapes. We can pretty much draw anything we need in geometry with this, but we're going to start off with a clean screen. So I'm going to go up here and click undo until I got my screen back to the beginning. And we're going to start off with an object called array. So over here in the tools, you're going to select more, and you're going to scroll down till we see the tool that says ray. It's under the subsection of lines. So we're going to select ray. You click on that, and then on your screen, you're going to click twice. Once for the beginning of the ray, and as you move it around, click another time for which direction the ray is going. So now I've created a ray. This is ray AB. It starts at point A and goes through point B. We call A the end point, by the way. I'm going to create a second ray. So I'll go back and make sure I have ray selected. And I want this ray to have the same endpoint. So I'm going to click on point A again. And I'm going to click somewhere else, doesn't really matter where, to create a second point. And now I've created a second ray going a different direction. You don't want to click on the same ray you had the first time, so you want it to be off. And what we've done by putting two rays together with the same endpoint is we've created an angle. When we talk about angles in this class, we're going to be talking about measuring the angles. And the cool thing about this, it's not a normal regular drawing. If you come back over to the tools, and you select the arrow tool, it's in the big circle down here. If you select that, you can grab the points and move them. And we can change our picture. Our picture is a moving picture. So now the next thing we want to do is actually measure our angle. So we're going to go over here. Above ray, there's a line of tools called measure, and the first one is angle. We're going to measure our angle. That's this angle in here. Now we can't just click anywhere. We're going to have to click on our points in a specific order. So follow my directions here. Make sure you click on the points in the right order. We're going to click on point B, then point A, then point C, and we get a measure for our angle. Now, you may not be able to see it very well. If that's the case, if it's like mine where you can't see the angle very well, come back over and click on the arrow. This is the tool that lets you move the picture around. And you can actually grab the measurement and drag it out where you can see it a little bit better. So in my picture, I have a 30.4 degree angle. Your angle does not have to measure the same. You have some angle measure there. And you can actually grab one of the points and move the picture around a little bit, and the computer will remeasure the angle for us. So we have an angle, and no matter what we do to it, we find the measure for this angle. Now, as our angle, if we make it smaller, the measurement gets smaller. As we make it bigger, the measurement gets bigger. It'll only go up to 180 by default, and then it'll start measuring the other side. Now, this picture is very simple. We can do all sorts of things with this, including things like change the color. If you click on it, you can select color and make it all pretty or whatnot. But what we really want to do is turn our rays into lines. So we're going to go back over the tools, go all the way to the top and select line. Now I want to keep the same picture here, but I just want to extend my ray so it doesn't stop at point A. I'm going to do that by selecting the line tool and clicking on points A and then point B. And now it's no longer a ray, it extends past on the other side, and now I've created a line. We're going to do the same thing for the other ray. Make sure I have line selected. Click on point A and point C. And now we've created two intersecting lines. And we have the measure of one angle. What I'd like to do is find the measures of these other four angles. We have three more that we've created now, and we'd like to find their measures. To do that, we were clicking on points to find the measure of the first angle. We need points over here to click on to find the measures of these other three angles. So we're going to put points on those lines. If you go over and select point, you could click and put a point anywhere on the screen, but we want our point to be on this line. So you'll notice as you get the cursor right to the line, the cursor will change a little bit, And that's what we want to do. We want to be clicking on the other side here, on the line, so we create a point that's actually on our line. We're going to do that for both of them and create points D and E that are on the lines on the other side from our angle. Now you can check to see if you've done this right. If you go back and grab the move tool, that's the arrow. If you try to move point D, you can grab it and drag it, but it won't leave that line if you did it correctly. And the same with point E. It stays on the line no matter what you do. Meanwhile, points B and C and point A can change the actual picture a little bit. Okay, so now we've created our picture with two intersecting lines. We're going to measure these missing angles. So we're going to go back to the tools, scroll down to angle measure, and we're going to click on 3 points. Now you have to click on them in the correct order. Basically, point A, which is called the vertex of these angles, has to be the second point you click on. So to find the measure of this angle on top, I'm going to basically trace it with my points. Start at point D, click, go to point A, click, go to point B, click, and now I get to measure the angle on top. Repeat for the left. Click on point D, then point A, then point E. We get the measure for the left. And then point E, click, point A, click, point C, click, and we get the measures for for this angle here on the bottom. Now, if your picture's like mine, it's all crammed together here. You go back over to the Move tool, and you can drag those measures into a place where you can see them. And now we have all 4 of these measures, and this will come up in a day or two, that there's a simple pattern to these measures. If you've done it correctly, 2 of the angles, the ones across from each other, have the same measure. And the ones across from each other the other way also have the same measure. And even if you move your picture around, these angles have the same measure. What the measure is different for everybody, depending on how you move your picture, but the ones on the left and the right match each other. The ones on the top and the bottom match each other. A vocabulary word that will come up in the next few days is vertical angles. That's how we describe these ones that match each other. So what I'm going to ask you to do, so your teacher can check this, is you're going to go back to the classroom, go into the chat, and write down your 2 angle measures. For me, I would write down 47 and 133, and your teacher will be able to tell right away if you've done your picture properly. And that's it. That's the construction, the beginning of using GeoGebra.